Değerli basın mensupları, teşekkür ederiz. Members of the press, if we could kindly ask you to take your seats. Thank you very much. Teşekkür ederiz. Evet.
Tamam.
Okay.
Hello and welcome everyone, distinguished First Ladies, to Uskudar, Istanbul, as we gather to mark this United Nations 2023 World Cities Day, financing a sustainable urban future for us all. I'm Andrea Sankey, I'm the host of the Newsmakers on TRT World, and I am joined by my colleague, Alican Ayanlar.
Thank you, Andrea. Değerli hanımefendiler, değerli beyefendiler.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, hello. Welcome to our beautiful Uskudar, our beautiful Istanbul. We're here for financing sustainable urban future for all. That's our main theme. And UN 23 World Cities Day. That is what we're here to celebrate. I'm from TRT World. My name is Alican, and Andrea, my colleague, will be with me today. We'll be your hosts.
Cities are our homes. In fact, right now, some 56% of the world's population, that's 4.4 billion people, live in our cities. And that is despite the fact that our cities only occupy 3% of the Earth's actual territory. Beyond that, that 56% is expected to grow to 70% by 2050. So managing that massive growth it's really more crucial than ever. Now, over the last few decades especially, we've put immense strain on our cities' resources, not least the infrastructure that holds our cities together and sometimes really keeps us from crossing a line between order and disorder, sometimes even chaos. So from roads to bridges to affordable housing and water, investment in infrastructure is a huge part what keeps our economies moving forward.
Indeed. Andre'nin dediği gibi şehirlerimiz bizim...
As Andrea said, cities are our homes. Actually, about 4.5 billion people are living in cities. The gentleman is repeating in English what the lady just said in Turkish a minute ago. So actually, managing this urban growth will be a challenge in the coming decades. So we will have to strike a balance between or deal with moving from disorder to disorder, and there will be a lot of pressure on resources.
Our systems of public transportation, roads, basic services, including water and sewage, trash collection, recycling, we do not live well. Yet often we find these are the systems that are receiving less and less investment. So today, we will be looking at financing our city's future in a sustainable way, answering how we can unlock transformative investment in urban planning.
Toplu taşıma, yollar...
Public transport, roads, basic services, water, garbage collection and recycling. Without these, we cannot have welfare. But in spite of these, we see that these sectors are being invested more and more less. So, as required by our theme today, what we'll do is we'll look into how to finance sustainably our cities. And what we'll also do is we'll look at how to transform investments for urban planning and how to overcome challenges.
While we will be talking about the many serious challenges that our cities are facing and how to solve them through investment and sustainability, we'll also be welcoming our very esteemed speakers and performers. So let's begin.
Okay.
By welcoming a performance with pianist Bushra Kayıkçı.
Piyanist Büşra Kayıkçı'nın performans...
Bushra Kayıkçı, our pianist, will start off first with a performance for us.
Bushra Kayıkçı. Thank you so much for that beautiful performance. And Bushra asked us to mention that she has dedicated her original compositions there to the people of Palestine, especially those suffering currently in Gaza in this war.
Büşra Kayıkçı'dan dinlediğimiz bu besteler özgün olmakla birlikte
Bushra composed these herself, and she wanted us to know that she dedicated these to the people of Gaza.
Gentlemen, the office of the Presidency of the Republic of Turkiye is a strong supporter of sustainable urban development as well as the Zero Waste Initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could please bring your attention to the screens above. We'll be back in a moment.
As the global population has surpassed 8 billion people and is projected to reach 10 billion over the next 3 decades, our planet is faced with several new challenges. One of the most pressing issues of our time is climate change and pollution. According to the United Nations, humanity generates an estimated 2.2 billion tons of municipal solid waste every year. With landfills nearing full capacity and many waste disposal methods harming the environment, the sustainability of life on planet Earth is being threatened. As the world reacts to the new challenges posed by climate change and pollution, members of the international community are working to provide solutions on a local and global level. In 2017, under the leadership of First Lady Emine Erdoğan, the Republic of Turkey launched the Zero Waste Project.
Bakanlığımızın koordinasyonu ile sıfır atık projesini başlatıyoruz.
The aim of this initiative was to raise awareness regarding sustainable production and consumption habits, while promoting the efficient use of resources. The pillar of this initiative is based on a circular economy. This economic system aims to eliminate waste and pollution by keeping products, components, and materials in circulation as long as possible. The circular economy is based on 3 principles: reduce, reuse, recycle, designed for longevity and close the loop. By implementing this system, societies can reduce waste and pollution, improve resource efficiency, and support sustainable economic growth. Over the years, the Zero Waste Project became a household name throughout Turkey, reaching millions of Turks, both young and old, and resulting in positive socio-economic results for the country. Now a proven success, it was time to take the Zero Waste Project from local to global. On September 19, 2022, First Lady Emine Erdoğan met with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on the sidelines of the 77th UN General Assembly in New York. The First Lady briefed the UN chief on Turkey's Zero Waste Project achievements and discussed the potential for international cooperation. By the end of the meeting, the UN Secretary General pledged his support by signing the Commitment to Zero Waste for the World, our common home document. The commitment letter was also signed by many ministers, representatives from international institutions, and 17 First Ladies, including France, Ukraine, Hungary, Malta, Azerbaijan, and Uzbekistan. The global commitment to zero waste continues to receive strong support from the international community and the public, as thousands of people have endorsed the campaign by signing up at www.zerowastecommitment.com. In December 2022, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution put forward by Turkey along with 105 other countries. In order to implement this resolution, aimed at advancing the UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, Secretary General Antonio Guterres was tasked with setting up an advisory board of eminent people who were knowledgeable and passionate about the issue. On March 30th, 2023, at an event celebrating the first International Zero Waste Day, Secretary General Guterres named First Lady Emine Erdogan as chairwoman of the Advisory Board of Eminent Persons on Zero Waste, and Jose Manuel Mollar, CEO and founder of Algermo, as vice president of the board. In her speech from the UN rostrum, the First Lady highlighted the importance of institutionalizing the zero waste practice and developing policies on a macro scale. With the announcement of the advisory board completed, it was time to get to work. The 13-member expert committee convened for its inaugural meeting on July 27. This virtual gathering set the UN's project in motion as the advisory board discussed collective efforts towards achieving zero waste. The group has emphasized its desire to closely cooperate with regional bodies in Europe, Asia, and Africa. A year after signing the Global Commitment to Zero Waste Declaration, members of the Zero Waste Advisory Board also had an opportunity to meet in New York at the Turkish House during the World is Our Common Home event. Experts discussed sustainable consumption habits, recycling efforts, and successful national zero waste initiatives. As a newly established advisory board, members are constantly sharing ideas and working towards building a global roadmap to achieve zero waste. The committee's next meeting will be in Istanbul. This international coalition of experts will continue to look at ways to implement national success stories on a global scale. With representation across a wide geography, the Advisory Board of Eminent Persons on Zero Waste is ready to pool their collective experiences to contribute to the United Nations efforts to overcome common challenges facing our shared planet.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a moment, we'll be introducing our first speaker, but we all, as you know, we're gathered here to celebrate World Cities Day here in the municipality of Uskudar. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Uskudar.
really, in such a stunning city, Uskudar does stand out as a truly beautiful municipality. And I now have the pleasure of welcoming the mayor of Uskudar, Mr. Hilmi
Şimdi
Türkmen.
huzurlarınızda Üsküdar Belediye Başkanımız Sayın Hilmi Türkmen'i sahneye çağırıyoruz.
Saygıdeğer hanımefendi,
Her Excellency Mrs. Erdogan, Executive Director of UN Habitat, distinguished First Ladies, distinguished Minister, members of the Parliament, Governor, distinguished mayors, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Türkiye Cumhuriyeti Cumhurbaşkanlığı himayesinde
This event is being organized under the auspices of the Presidency of Republic of Turkey, and whereas the municipality of Üsküdar are hosting this event, our Minister of Environment and Urbanization has helped us out together with the Union of Municipalities. So welcome to the World Cities Day of UN Habitat. We are thrilled to be with you. Distinguished guests, today is a quite special day because today is the second day of the second century of our republic. So, in 2013, the UN had taken a decision according to which on the 31st of October every year, World Cities Day is now being celebrated. And today we're with you for this year's celebration, and we are happy and proud to be able to host you here in our municipality, in our district of Uskudar. And today is also a special day for the district of Uskudar of Istanbul as well, because the World Cities Day is for the first time being celebrated in a district municipality for the first time. We already know about the main theme and purpose of this meeting. When it comes to urbanization, it's all about trying to come up with a global agenda. And it's also about encouraging those who are relevant and coming up with sustainable development for urbanization. So this is why this meeting gets to be organized regularly each year. Dear friends, dear guests, we have officials from tens of countries with us today. We have representatives of local governments, ministers, professionals with us. Right at the beginning of my remarks at this stage, let me first share with you a couple of points with you, distinguished audience members. Our district, Üsküdar, because of its positioning, it's not just a district or just any settlement. It has a lot of history and a cultural richness, and it has always borne a certain vision. So with these, Üsküdar is one of the unique settlements of our ancient civilization. We have about 531,000 people living in Üsküdar, but we practically end up with more than 2 million people circulating in Üsküdar during daytime. So more than 2 million people meet here. So as a municipality, we do our best to be able to serve such population, millions of people. We have street vendors, but we also have the largest banks or holding companies or stores as well, big brands as well. We have traditional handicrafts workshops. But we also have companies who have their headquarters here, who work in global aviation, for example. So this means a lot of motivation for us. This kind of dynamism actually is the foundation of our understanding of municipal services, which we call seriousness, which is citizen-focused, citizen-oriented. So in everything we do, we have in mind our Uskudar, our Istanbul, our Turkiye. This is the kind of seriousness we have in mind. So in all areas which are relevant for local governments, we are strong as the municipality of Üsküdar, and we are leading in many areas. When it comes to infrastructure, urbanization, education, science, culture, arts, healthcare, sports, social services, aesthetics, waste management, and solutions for animals and green spaces. So these are among some of the main themes where we have come up with lasting and permanent solutions as a municipality. A very famous director of Turkish cinema, Lütfi Akar, he used to call cinema a collective type of work. So, dear friends, indeed, local services, municipal work is also a collective type of work. You need to have a collective wisdom. So wherever this happens, in the world, we turn to that place, we get inspirations from that practice and try to serve our people. Dear friends, as a result, what is the outcome or the result, one may ask? So if you allow me, let me share with you a couple of points. As you all know, in Istanbul, per square meter, we have about 3,000 people in Istanbul. That's the density. And in Üsküdar, per square meter, we're talking about 15,000 people. Within the last decade, the per person green space was increased from 4.8 square meters to 13 square meters. Also, we increased the number of people's gardens. Our president calls these the tea houses of, or the public places of people, and we have opened 15 of these spaces. And we opened libraries. Hundreds of thousands of books sit in these libraries. These libraries they have become brand or popular destinations where our youngsters meet. So much so that youngsters from Istanbul, and in fact, youngsters coming from different parts of Istanbul meet here. They don't go to Starbucks in Üsküdar. They go to Nev Mekan, for example. To them, it's more cool. We have more than 40 sports-oriented facilities and 17 semi-Olympic swimming pools, 10 closed sports centers, gyms. And we stand out as one of those municipalities where we have the highest number of sports centers. And we have 98,000 youngsters who are licensed in sports. Women, the elderly, the disabled, children, students, those who are vulnerable, job seekers, those who want to have an occupation or a profession. So for different echelons of the society, we have solution-oriented projects that we have been conducting. For the disabled, we offer a full-fledged services system. The most comprehensive no disability center sits in Üsküdar. And the largest scientific center in Istanbul, which is one of the first 5 largest in the world, is in Üsküdar. And we also have a cafe which is operated by children with Down syndrome only. It's called the Cafe of Smiles. It's here in Uskudar. And 5 million people so far have taken Bosphorus tours, cruise tours on the Bosphorus on our Valide Sultan ship. For animals on the street, we have a veterinary hospital, and it's also here in Uskudar. With the support of our Minister of Environment and Urbanization, we will be opening a new facility in the coming days. It will be a first in the world. It is called the Children's Village of Uskudar. Something unique, a facility which is unique, and it covers 85,000 square meters. It is the Children's Village. So we'll bring children together, and they will have access to a natural village life. So they'll have hands-on experience of growing things. So it will be unique. So dear guests, our president refers to some of our green areas as people's gardens. One of the best examples of them covers 90,000 square meters. It is the Nakkaştepe People's Garden. Again, it's within Uskudar. Actually, because I have limited time here, I won't be able to enumerate hundreds of projects we have developed. So as the municipality of Uskudar, what we have been doing is we have been trying to serve our city with a 360-degree understanding in mind. Zero waste, by the way, requires, it deserves a separate parenthesis here. In 2016, in our municipality, we took an important step. And we called it the Uskudar model in transformation. Mrs. Emine Erdoğan is a global leader of the Zero Waste project, and we have now become a part of this project. In 2016, something between 300 to 400 tons of recyclable garbage was being collected in Istanbul. But now it first went up to 1,200, and it has now reached 5,000 tons of recyclable garbage being collected in our district on a monthly scale. So as we collect such recyclable garbage, we have included our community, our people of Uskudar. We knew that this was a must-have to include them. So because we believed in this, we made use of a special method in this work. In Uskudar, we took up 200,000 households first, and we visited them directly. And we talked to them about the significance of separating garbage for recycling purposes. On Tuesdays and on Fridays in our district, in Uskudar, only recyclable garbage is now being collected. And out of such recyclable garbage, we attain some revenue. That translates into help for those who are in need. So that's an indication of benevolence of our people. So we took a decision in the municipality, and revenue coming from such recyclable garbage is now translated into beds for the sick, stationery for students, outfits for vulnerable children, people who are in need, such as, for example, old people or disabled people who need food, who need wheelchairs. So this is what gets to be financed with such revenue. So this piece of work and Zero Waste project is being led by Mrs. Emine Erdoğan, our First Lady, who in fact has almost devoted her entire life to this kind of work. I would like to extend my gratitude to her in your presence. In 2017, this project was started, and recycling now moved from 16% to about 30%. So this has been a mobilization, and we'll do our best to be a part of this mobilization. We'll continue to work hard towards this aim. Our Constitution, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, our cultural codes, and all the values that we adhere to, including the understanding of politics that we adhere to. So all of these have defined what's right for people. It's clear, it's there. It's just that what we're trying to do is we adhere to such values and such definitions. So all these accomplishments in our district of Uskudar, the secret behind our work is there, I mean, in those values and definitions. So it is actually a source of pride and happiness for us to be able to accomplish these things. And as we work towards such accomplishments, we are guided and supported by the vision of our President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan. In 1990s, he started off with a revolution in local government in Turkey, and we are proud to have been a part of this reform, this revolution. To us, it's all about putting our people at the heart of things in an attempt to give them better living conditions. That's the vision our president has given us. As I conclude my remarks, let me lastly touch upon the following. Palestine, the bleeding wound of the world. The life of civilians is at the center of law of war. That is not being considered, and this is an unstopping madness we're seeing. It's been 25 days now. Hospitals, residences, schools, temples, marketplaces, they make no difference. They have been bombing all of these places violently. More than 10,000 innocent civilians have been massacred. Additionally, there are close to 30 journalists, 38 United Nations officers, more than 500 medical personnel. Unfortunately, they have also died. And unfortunately, more than half of those who died in total are children and women. In 24 days, 200,000 residences have been toppled, unfortunately, and violently so, according to the statistics of Palestinian Ministry. And again, according to the authorities in Palestine, unfortunately, children who are educated in Gaza, because more than half of them died, in Gaza, education will be interrupted this semester in Gaza. Dear friends, electricity, water, food, internet, and similar basic must-haves of life are not being provided to these people. And in the very eyes of the entire world, this people is being destroyed, and they are being subject to genocide. Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres, he said the civilian Palestinians are being massacred by Israel, and we have been, of course, hearing his words. He is calling out loudly. Israel is not taking into account lawful criteria. This is a madness Israel is in. And for any one society at all, no good will come out of this. In Ukraine, the number of children who died in a year is equal to the number of children who died in a single night in Gaza, unfortunately, dear friends. The world and the West, look at how they reacted to Russia versus look at how the West and the world is reacting to the war in Gaza. It's not the same, unfortunately. Russian composers were deported. Russian sports teams, Russian artists have been banned. They have been isolated by Western countries. They did that during the Ukraine war. But they have been giving an entirely different type of reaction to Israel. It's quite meaningful. Dear guests, as I move towards the end of my remarks, let me have a round of thanks. Today's meeting of World Cities Day. Before the decision to hold this meeting here in the district of Uskudar was taken, even before that, we received unlimited support. And we also received a lot of help in being able to organize this meeting in a sound manner. We have been fully supported by Mrs. Emine Erdoğan. I would like to thank her a lot for her support. And a decision was taken to hold this meeting here in Üsküdar. The executive director of UN Habitat, Ms. Maymuna Sherif. I would like to thank her and her team for taking this decision. And we have been supported both financially and non-financially. Our Minister of Environment, Urbanization and Climate Change, Mr. Mehmet Özhaseki. I would like to thank him as well. Of course, we are always supported closely, always by the Union of Municipalities of Turkiye, who is also the mayor of Balıkesir. Thank you to the president of the Union of Municipalities as well for his support. I hope this meeting will prove to be fruitful. All the best to you, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mayor Türkmen.
Teşekkür ederiz Sayın Başkan.
And now, ladies and gentlemen.
I think we actually have an announcement.
Oh.
About the simultaneous translations.
Oh, this is true. Which should have come before, but let's do this now.
Okay, for all of you who actually would like to listen to what's going on here on the stage in their native language, we actually have 7 languages available. The organization team asked me to go through them. Turkish, Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. They're all available on your simultaneous translation sets.
Fantastic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the stage, we'd really like to welcome the president of the Union of Municipalities of Turkey, and he's also the mayor of Balıkesir. There he is. Mr. Yücel Yılmaz.
Türkiye Belediyeler Birliği Başkanı ve aynı zamanda Balıkesir Büyükşehir Belediye Başkanı Sayın Yücel Yılmaz'ı sahneye davet ediyoruz.
Distinguished First Lady and distinguished guests coming from abroad, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished Minister, distinguished Deputy General Secretary, distinguished Executive Director, dear participants, welcome to the World Cities Day. My best regards to you all. Our theme is Financing Sustainable Urban Future for All, October 31st, World Cities Day, hosted by our country. This is a great honor for us to host the event this year. We will talk about how we can make our cities sustainable, how we can fund and finance the sustainability. We're going to discuss that, and I hope today's meeting will bring good results for all of us. UN Habitat works with governments, private sector, non-governmental organizations, members of academia. It brings together all the actors in this field. Every year, on October 31st, we organize such meetings to raise awareness, to exchange views among countries on challenges and opportunities, to better ensure sustainable urban future for all. Today, we are gathered to discuss the situation in our cities. This is a great opportunity to go through new chances and opportunities to initiate new dialogue channels. This is a good opportunity to discuss the future of our cities in the world. People have the power to have a say in the future of their cities. And another theme is zero waste for this summit. And we're thrilled to host this event with this theme, Zero Waste. In 2017, under the auspices of our First Lady, we initiated this movement called Zero Waste. Now many countries adopt the same theme, and we're proud to see that happening. I would like to thank our First Lady for her achievements, for her leadership. Nowadays, we have to fight many challenges happening at the same time in our cities. For example, there was a global pandemic. We're fighting against the impacts of the climate change. There is the economic crisis. There are wars. On the other hand, we're trying to make progress towards sustainable development goals. We are the local leaders, local authorities. It is our task to work and walk towards sustainable development goals in order to build a better future. And we need to be agile. We need to act fast. We have to integrate sustainable development goals into our daily life. They have to be a part of our daily management role. Otherwise, we can't talk about sustainability. Global zero waste target is so important. We would like to have a new life where we produce zero waste. We want to see more cities as champions of this movement. I am here representing the municipalities of our country. We bring together many projects coming from local areas, smart cities, urban resilience, global agendas turning into local agendas. We have many projects under different themes. And I act as the mayor of Balıkesir. And we're trying to localize sustainable development goals. We're trying to build a city that respects environment. We work with the United Nations, other international organizations. We have a long-standing cooperation. Last year, the World Habitat Day was celebrated in Balıkesir last year. Today, we're here gathered around the theme Financing Sustainable Urban Future for All, and we're thrilled to host this event again. Around the theme of World Cities Day, we will have a lot of opportunities to exchange views. I hope this event will bring good results for all the municipalities, for all the cities. And I'd like to take a moment to thank Mrs. Emine Erdoğan for her support. And I would like to thank our minister, Mr. Özhaseki, and I would like to thank Mrs. Maybuna Şerife, the executive director, and I would like to thank Hilmi Türkmen, Uskudar mayor. I'd like to thank you, all the participants. 2 days ago, we celebrated the centenary of our republic, but at the same time, we are saddened to see the tears shed by the children of Gaza, and I hope the atrocity comes to an end as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated, the mayor of Balıkesir. Moving on now, and please welcome to the stage one of Turkey's most relevant figures, actually, in this space we're speaking of today, the Minister of the Environment, Urbanization and Climate, Mr. Mehmet Özhaseki.
Türkiye Cumhuriyeti Çevre, Şehircilik ve İklim Değişikliği Bakanı Sayın Mehmet Özhaseki'ye lütfen hoş geldiniz diyelim.
distinguished First Lady, and her valuable guests, ladies coming from abroad. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to start by extending my best regards. I'd like to start with a quote from our history. Our ancestors used to say life is all about opposite values, goodness and badness, white and black, malign thoughts, benevolent thoughts. So we should opt for the good sides of life. We should act for the goodness. We have been feeling quite differently because we just celebrated the centenary of our republic. We have mixed feelings. We celebrated, we were so cheerful. 85 million, our population, celebrated our centenary. And then, unfortunately, at the same time, we regretted to see what is happening in Gaza. The previous speakers also mentioned the atrocity taking place in Gaza, perpetrated by the killer army of Israel, who doesn't distinguish between elderly and young, women and men, child or adult. Our humanity's consciousness cannot accept this. We regret to see that. Today, it's a good day. We're joined by our valuable friends and colleagues coming from 140 countries. It's a good day. We are so happy to host this event for our friends and colleagues. We're so proud to have you here. So this is all about life. Mixed feelings. But maybe there is a silver lining behind every cloud. We will opt for the good deeds. We will stand by the oppressed all the time, and we will keep walking down this path. Today, we are in Istanbul, where continents and civilizations meet, with its unique natural beauties and culture. And Uskudar is in the heart of Istanbul. We're in a city with thousands of years of history, home to dozens of races and civilizations. Istanbul is like an open-air museum. What a great pleasure to welcome our guests in such a great city. I would like to talk about 2 points in my speech. The concept of cities, and then second, I'd like to talk about climate change and environment. In our civilization, cities have a very important role because according to the scientists, in the world, the most ancient settlements were Mesopotamia and Anatolia, the most ancient settlement areas globally. So on Anatolian territory, we hosted tens of civilizations, tribes. Today, we live on this territory, and we're building a civilization. It's not easy to describe what a city is. There are different parameters. On the one hand, cities are about production, commerce, industry. On the other hand, cities are about human relations, life, culture, art, and religion. Cities bring all those elements together. It's not quite easy to describe the concept of a city, but according to Ibn Khaldun, cities are where civilizations are born, where the benefits spread across the humanities. If a city has an ancient history, has an authentic architecture, culture, then you can call that place a city. Otherwise, if it is just the gathering of crowds, you can't call that a city exactly, unquote. Another scientist talks about living organisms, referring to the cities. Just like a human life, cities have a life. Just like humans, cities are born, they grow, develop, and they need to be taken care of, then they have a long life. Otherwise, they have a short life. If they're not taken care of, they may die. So cities need to be looked after, and one needs to understand the spirit of the time. So this is the task of local authorities. Another scientist said the future of cities are in the hands of the local authorities, mayors of that city. If the mayors have a vision regarding the future of their cities, then the cities will thrive and grow fast. Otherwise, God forbid, it's going to be the opposite. How about sustainability? Unfortunately, some mayors think it is all about getting a budget allocation from central government, but that's not true. On the one hand, we're building the future of our cities. On the other hand, we keep polluting the world, and we're going to leave a bad legacy to our children. We have limited resources. We all have to do our share for that. While I participated elections 5 times, I have been acting as a metropolitan city municipality. I have never went to the capital city to ask for funding from the central government, because we can do it on our own at local level. We should, as mayors, we should know how to manage funds. We should know how to manage human resources on our own. We should know how to manage space, and we should be problem solvers. And we should be managing time. We need those skills as mayors, and we should be able to manage the perceptions. I regret to see this is not very much happening in the opposition parties' municipalities, unfortunately. Rather than those skills, they just try to spend a lot of funds to organize large-scale events, and they're just trying to manage the perceptions. So I don't think they have something to say about the future of our cities. Now, on to the climate crisis. Our country is facing the severe consequences of the climate crisis. Floods, fires, drought, and sea snot. We're facing these challenges. According to scientific research, the average temperature in the world has increased by 1 degree Celsius. And if it increases by 2 degrees Celsius, a food crisis may start in the world, and it may trigger migration, and the world may become uninhabitable. So everyone has to make efforts, and we're doing that. The biggest cause of climate change is, unfortunately, industrial revolution that triggered overconsumption and overpollution. We have actually basic needs, but it's not a big deal. What we suffer from is greed, unfortunately. We overconsume, unfortunately. So we keep polluting the world, and it creates a disaster, a catastrophe for our planet. I would like to make a quote from Rumi. According to Rumi, the world is like a mountain from which our deeds will echo and return to us, unquote. In other words, we're reaping what we sow in the world. This is his philosophy. The world is created on a certain fine balance. Not too much, not too little, just a fine balance. But human race disrupted this fine balance and created disasters. But everyone makes efforts, all the countries. So we want to We're one of the countries that pollute the world the least, but still we're doing our best. We're a party to Paris Climate Agreement. We're honoring our liabilities. On the other hand, we have National Action Plan on Climate Change. Under the auspices of our First Lady, we made it public, and we're following that up so closely. We're increasing the green spaces, and according to the instructions of our president, we started to have more people's gardens. Now it is more than 80 million square meters green space. Solid waste, wastewater treatment facilities of municipalities are being supported by our ministry. So we have been making great efforts for the environment. I don't want to take much time, but I want to refer to the Zero Waste campaign. It started 7 years ago in our country. When we launched that, some people opposed to that idea. Maybe they didn't believe in it. But we're so grateful for our First Lady to initiate that because it has brought great results. She has been persevering along this path, and it has become a brand of our country, Zero Waste Project. Thank you. We transformed 45 million tons of waste. We separated so many million tons of waste, otherwise they would be dumped into the nature, and we saved $4 million out of this. By the way, by collecting paper waste, we saved trees. 432 million trees were saved from being cut down thanks to us collecting paper waste. That's how it's important. Our country has problems. We had a very devastating earthquake, unfortunately. At the beginning of this year, there were 2 big earthquakes, actually, one after another. 18 cities were impacted directly or indirectly, and 14 million citizens were impacted. 850,000 houses, workplaces were damaged because of the earthquake, and they needed to be rebuilt. And from the first minute onwards, our president led the process. The ministers were on the scene. Mayors were there with the people. But back then, I was the deputy head of our political party. Everyone was making efforts to support our sisters and brothers who survived the earthquake. We were trying to heal the wounds, and I am so proud to be a member of this nation. Now we're rebuilding around 50,000 houses. They will be delivered soon to their owners. We will extend financial support to the survivors, and we will complete the construction of still village houses. Thousands of people who are now homeless because of the earthquake will have a house. But during the construction, we make sure we are compliant with smart cities concept, compliant with zero waste concept when we're building robust and strong buildings. We're a big nation, a proud nation. We know how to get back up after disasters. And I would like to thank you once again by way of closing. Some of you have come to Istanbul for the first time. Please make sure you extend your stay, maybe 2 days, 3 days, for sightseeing purposes. This is such a magnificent city. I hope you get to know our culture better. Thank you very much.
Çok teşekkür ederim. Sağ olun.
Now, as we are aware, World Cities Day was founded by the United Nations and UN Habitat to draw attention to the needs of our cities and how to plan urbanization as sustainably as possible. Unfortunately, the Secretary General couldn't join us here today, but we are joined by Mahmouna Mod Sharif. She is the Executive Director of Habitat.
Değerli katılımcılar, Birleşmiş Milletler Habitat İcra Direktörü Sayın Maymuna Mod Sharif'i şimdi de sahneye davet ediyoruz. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
First of all, please allow me to bring to your attention to the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres' video remarks for today's commemorations of the World Cities Day in Uskudar of Turkiye.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to greet the celebration of World Cities Day in Istanbul. Cities play a pivotal role in achieving the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. They foster innovation, culture, and economic growth. They are also key to tackling today's complex challenges, from growing inequalities to the triple planetary crisis, from quality education to healthcare. Local authorities often struggle with limited support and resources to deliver for their communities, while demand for infrastructure, affordable housing, efficient transport, green spaces, and social services is immense and growing. The situation calls for a new social pact based on human rights. Governments, international organizations, the private sector, and civil society must work together to mobilize finance for inclusive and resilient cities that support both people and our planet. Sustainable policies and urban planning create green jobs and opportunities for the youth, enable digital connectivity, and advance gender equality. Circular economies save money, reduce emissions, and promote public health. I salute the government of Turkey on its zero waste initiative and the personal commitment of Her Excellency Emin Erdogan. And I send my best wishes to tomorrow's meeting of my advisory board of eminent persons on zero waste here in Istanbul. Dear friends, as we mark World Cities Day, let us work together for urban areas that are beacons of sustainability, resilience, and prosperity for all. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention. Now, I shall proceed with my own opening remarks. Your Excellency, Madam Emine Erdogan, First Lady of the Republic of Turkey, Your Excellencies, distinguished First Ladies present here, distinguished representatives and delegates, honorable mayors, honorable ministers, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the 2023 Global Observance of the World Cities Day taking place here at Uskudar Municipality, Istanbul, Turkey. Let me thank the government of Turkey and the Ministry of Environment, Planning and Climate Change for supporting this year's global observance of World Cities Day. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate the people of Turkey who celebrated the 100th anniversary, the establishment of the Republic of Turkey earlier this week. For UN Habitat, being back in Istanbul is very special. It was in Istanbul that we held the second United Nations Habitat Conference in 1996. The urban agenda was set at the Habitat 2 with the aim of adequate housing for all and viable human settlement in a changing world. Member states call upon UN Habitat to support them to ensure that urbanization is well-planned, integrated, and sustainable. Coming from Malaysia and having started my career as a town planner, I am very familiar with the promise and opportunities that urbanization provides. I must congratulate His Excellency President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the President of Turkiye, and the people of Turkiye for achieving the goals set out at Habitat True. Under his leadership, first Mayor of Istanbul, as Prime Minister, and now the President Turkiye, has become an inspiration to the world when it comes to housing, infrastructure, public transport, and equitable development. Your Excellency, Madam Amina, your presence here today is very special. Your support for UN Habitat and the principles of sustainable urban development is well known. The zero waste movement that you started in Turkey have seen some 650 million tons of raw material conserved and 4 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions eliminated through recycling. I recall in our last meeting how Her Excellency explained that it is in her culture and family tradition not to waste. The Zero Waste program in Turkey that started under your patronage is today a global initiative. The General Assembly declared 30th March as International Zero Waste Day. The Secretary General's Advisory Committee on Zero Waste is meeting tomorrow under your chairmanship. We are truly grateful to you for being the patron of World Cities Day 2023. Distinguished delegates, positive impact on the ground, better life in our urbanizing world, and making sure no one is left behind is the vision that Member States endorsed in the new urban agenda. In 2016, I was a mayor activist at Quito, Ecuador, during United Nations Habitat Tree Conference. Our slogan then was "Leave no mayor behind" and hashtag "Listen to Cities." When I held a placard together with my colleague at that time, Your Excellency, to say "Leave no mayor behind" and "Listen to Cities" at the General Assembly in New York, the following year, I never imagined that I would be proposed by the United Nations Secretary General to be the Executive Director the United Nations Human Settlement Programs. Better known as UN Habitat, we are tasked with the responsibility of helping member states implement the new urban agenda to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly Goal 11 on sustainable cities and communities. I'm very proud to let you know that we now work directly in over 600 cities in all regions of the world. Every effort has been made to strengthen our partnership with local governments and stakeholders to ensure no mayors, no community leaders is left behind. To really make a positive impact in the life of the communities that we serve, we need to fund cities. This is why the theme of the World Cities Day 2023 is Financing Sustainable Urban Future for All. We need to build the capacity of our local governments to enable them to attract financing and build the right capacity to implement projects at the local levels. We really appreciate our donors who provide much-needed grants and outright donations. as we operate in post-conflict contexts as well as in fragile states overseas. Development aid is much needed and appreciated. I urge developed countries to meet the commitment target of 0.7% of their GDP as development aid. Equally important that I am very happy to report, developing countries like the BRICS have set up financing mechanisms and set aside much needed capital to support cities and companies meet their environmental, social, and governance, or in short, ESG targets. Public, private, people, and philanthropic partnerships, and I would like to take this opportunity to recognize and thank member states and donors who continue to support the mandate of UN Habitat. However, not all of us are progressing at the same pace in the journey to achieve SDG 11 and the urban SDG. We need to turbocharge our implementation of the new urban agenda and SDG 11. If we want to achieve the SDGs, we must enhance national, regional, and local level cooperations to translate policy into practice. If we want to scale up urban solutions, we need to provide a safe working and investing environment to attract private sector investors. But if we really want to achieve sustainable development, we must involve civil society and communities. At the high-level meeting on financing sustainable urbanization that was generously supported by BOSA Istanbul, I put forward the idea of 4 Ps. The imminent panel that met yesterday added a 5th P, including public, private, people, and philanthropic partnerships. The 5P approach works based on trust. It is a values-based and long-term in perspective. To give life to the 5P approach, we need to take the first step to improve the way cities spend existing resources. Increasing own source revenue enables cities to attract the right kind of development partners. I have done this myself when I was a mayor of Seberang Perai City Council, where in 7 years, we increased revenue collection by over 200%. We were then able to double foreign direct investment to improve the city's financial position. This helped to kickstart a process of increased access to external finance. You need to put your house in order before inviting investors into your city. Distinguished delegates, we are actually facing a funding gap more than a financing gap at the local level. Private finance is available. We cannot mobilize it at the necessary scale towards public service delivery as long as cities remain poorly funded. I urge member states to increase their support to capacity building at the local level. We need mayors and city managers to understand financial management. At UN Habitat, we have established the City Investment Facility to help cities develop bankable projects and to be able to establish a meaningful, mutually beneficial and sustainable partnership with investors. In attempting to crowd in private finance towards public service delivery, we need to be sensitive to ensure finance delivers value for money when using public resources. We should not attempt to crowd in private finance at any cost. The selection of the right investment, their correct phasing and strategic prioritization needs to be part and parcel of good financing. This will not only save resources in the short and the medium term, but also generate wealth and economic benefits in medium and long term. Any actions to improve finance for cities should come with increased knowledge about finance embedded in the mayor's office. This is why I'm very happy that Shanghai Manual for 2023 will be launched here at Istanbul. We need good practices, data, and how-to manual to help us make positive impacts on the ground. I'm looking forward to the 2 roundtable sessions planned for this afternoon, as well as the high-level meeting we organized yesterday will provide new ways of thinking about finance and financing sustainable urbanizations. This will be input for me to take to COP28 in Dubai, where I will be co-chairing the meeting on localization, as well as the high-level ministerial meeting on sustainable urbanization, which will include ministers of housing, planning, environment, and finance. Your Excellencies, please allow me to thank all the delegations who have taken the trouble to be with us today. Let me thank my dear friends, Mayor Yusel Yilmaz, President of the Council of Municipalities, and the Mayor of Balikasir for heading organizing committee that has enabled all of us to be here today. Yesterday, we organized the high-level meeting on financing sustainable urbanization. Let me thank Tan Sri Azman Mokhtar, the chairman of Malaysia's Pilgrim Fund, and the members of meeting for their contributions yesterday. I'm also indebted to Mr. John Todd, the Secretary General Special Envoy for Road Safety, who took time from his busy schedule to be with us at the Mayor's Forum on Road Safety. Let me also thank Her Excellency Madam Jean Kimani.
Bu arada Sayın Jean Kimani'ye de teşekkür etmek istiyorum. BM Habitat İcra Kurulu Başkan Yardımcısı. Kendisi de bu yıl bu kutlamada bizimle birlikte. Bu yıl sürdürülebilir kalkınma hedefleri 11 ve yeni kent gündemi bütün dünyada gündeme getirilmiş durumda. Ekim ayında hep etkinlikler yapıldı. Toplam bu konuda bu sene Ekim'de 270 etkinlik yapıldı. 27'si Afrika'da, 181 Amerika'da, 35 Asya'da, 26'sı Avrupa'da, biri Oseanya'da olmak üzere 4 Dünya Kent Günü yapılıyor. Bugün eş zamanlı olarak bugün 17 tanesi bugün 17 farklı yerde yapılıyor. Bütün Ekim ayı etkinlik düzenleyicilerine teşekkür ediyorum. Bunların arasında en çok katılımın olduğu 1000 küsur kişinin kayıt yaptırdığı etkinlik de bu arada. 741 online katılanımız var. 250'de şahsen katılanımız var bugün ve 10. yıl dönümü Dünya Kentler Kutlaması'nın bugün. Şanghay'dan delegasyon kendileri 2014'te ilk ev sahipliği yapmışlardı. Onlar da bizimle birlikteler. Üskudar Belediye Başkanı'yla birlikte
Form a World Cities Day Alumni Network. This will allow us to amplify effective multilateralism so needed to create better cities, better life. Finally, let me take this opportunity once again to thank Her Excellency Madam Emine Erdogan of her patronage of World Cities Day 2023. We remain grateful to the government and the people of Turkey for your continued support for the urban agenda. My thanks also to the distinguished First Ladies who have joined us this morning, as well as the distinguished members of the United Nations Secretary General Advisory Committee on Zero Waste. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Şimdi Türkiye Cumhuriyeti Cumhurbaşkanlığı himayede
This event is being organized under the auspices of the Presidency of the Republic of Turkiye. Our last speaker is First Lady of Turkey, Mrs. Emine Erdoğan.
Our keynote speaker and a leader on the environment and sustainable urban development, the First Lady of the Republic of Turkey, Mrs. Emine Erdoğan.
Saygıdeğer Devlet Başkanı,
Distinguished First Ladies, distinguished representatives of international organizations, ladies and gentlemen, let me greet you all with most heartfelt feelings. I'm happy to be hosting the United Nations Habitat's 31st October World Cities Day here in Uskudar, in a district of Istanbul, which is a pearl of our Istanbul, actually. Istanbul, which brings civilizations and continents together. This is a precious meeting, which brings us together with the theme of financing a sustainable urban future for all. And I hope that it will lead to a sustainable and prosperous future for our world. At the beginning of my words, I wish God's mercy on all of our Palestinian sisters and brothers who lost their lives in the attacks carried out by Israel in Gaza since the 7th of October. Unfortunately, as humanity, we are going through very dark days. Attacks against innocent people have been continuing for days now, and these attacks are causing irreparable wounds on our conscience. A massacre is being carried out before the eyes of the entire world, without discrimination of women and children, old and young, Muslim, non-Muslim, without respect of rights and laws. In Palestine, not only civilians lose their lives, the common conscience and common hope of humanity is also being destroyed, and recklessly so. In these days, where hate, war, and hostility spread fast, we need initiatives that will establish peace and justice and that will reinforce the culture of living together, and we need such initiatives more than ever today. I deeply wish that this oppression, this atrocity will end as soon as possible and that the region will enjoy peace as soon as possible. Dear guests, cities are a product of the accumulation of thoughts developed by mankind on their journey to civilization. So it's a manifestation of the world of meaning. Therefore, a city not only brings individuals together, but it also represents a concrete form of the culture and civilization commonly developed by its residents. So cities exist as a whole, and cities cannot be considered independent of the identity of their lives. In the expression of the famous Turkish thinker Hacı Bayram Veli, when a man builds a city, he actually builds himself between stone and soil, he said. So in this framework, we must not forget that while building and transforming cities, we also transform social identity and culture. The key to any kind of global change, in a way, is hidden in urbanization. On the other hand, in our modern world, where urbanization is increasing at an unstoppable rate, the importance of cities has gained a different dimension. Research shows that by the year 2050, 7 out of 10 people in the world will be living in cities. And rapid urbanization brings with it many crises and challenges also. One of the most important problems or challenges that it reveals is undoubtedly climate change, which turns our world into a bleeding ball. The gravity of the reaching point is no longer through possibilities and numbers, but we talk about the disasters and losses we have personally experienced now. And the climate-based crisis we are experienced in, it teaches us the painful way that what does not seem possible today may be inevitable tomorrow. Climate crisis is rapidly transforming our environment, and it brings about numerous problems with it. But we have a great power in our hands, which is this moment we have. So even if we come closer every day, we have not yet crossed the threshold of no return. So rather than talking about the past and the future, we need to focus on the now. Now is the time to put in front of us the promises and possibilities that we have and to make concrete decisions. Now is the time to unite our dreams, thoughts, and voices for our common home, the world. Now is the time to implement an inclusive sustainability where no one is left behind. So without waiting for 2030, now is the time to establish cities and life for everyone where sustainability, justice, and prosperity prevail. Here, every person has a responsibility and a duty. So, I mean, this is not an issue that concerns just me, just Turkey, or just one region. Today, in this room, there are hundreds of people from different regions and different cultures. Wives of heads of state and government, ministers, we have representatives of international organizations who have kindly responded to our invitation. So this community in front of me, crossing the borders of countries, reveals our unity of faith when it comes to climate crisis. And know that none of us walks on this path alone, and believe that if we join our forces like this on a global plane, the future we dream is not that far away. Dear guests, every challenge and every difficulty definitely contains within it a potential for a solution as well. So cities deepening the climate crisis are also a unique potential resource. Having more than half of the world's population and more than 80% of the global gross domestic product, cities mean a unique source of potential as well. So every change we make in our life is an important step towards a sustainable and prosperous future. And 6 years ago, here in Turkey, we started the Zero Waste project. So for us, this project was a clear proof of such potential. At this point where we stand today, we are witnessing that the gains and achievements we have gained in our country have been breaking up a global movement, going away from beyond borders. Last year, the first global Zero Waste Intention Declaration is something we signed with the UN Secretary General. So the declaration is now a partnership of imagination shared by many officials and heads of state and government and first ladies. The declaration can now be signed on a website today. So it has received the support of thousands of people from 59 different countries so far. So I call on you today to support the Zero Waste movement by first signing and then taking a step to living without waste. I'm proud to have pioneered as Turkiye the zero waste decision adopted by the UN General Assembly with 105 co-presenting countries. I believe that 30th of March, International Zero Waste Day, declared as a result of the decision, is a sign of all the efforts made to make our world clean and livable. Another concrete outcome of the zero waste decision, the zero waste resolution of the UN, is the establishment of a zero waste advisory board. The board is affiliated with the United Nations Secretary General, and it's composed of experts in their respective fields. The main mission of this board, of which I'm the president, the main mission is to identify examples of success on zero waste in the world, similar to Turkey, and to encourage the implementation at the local and global level. So in this scope, we started our work to organize Global Zero Waste Awards. And here our purpose is to reveal the inspiring zero waste stories in the world. And on the other hand, we're also making our preparations to declare the next year as the year of zero waste. So on this occasion, I want to also share some piece of good news with you. A zero waste foundation was established in order to strengthen the gains achieved by the zero waste project at all levels. The foundation aims to establish a waste-free lifestyle locally and to promote its practice on an international dimension. I wish that our foundation will conduct beneficial work and will be successful. Dear guests, there is something that I voice at every opportunity in the fight against the climate crisis. Although they have not participated in creating this problem, the countries that are disproportionately affected by its consequences are, unfortunately, in the majority. We all have a responsibility for countries that do not have enough experience and enough finance to transform their cities and to transform their way of life in a sustainable way. To build a sustainable urban future for everyone, first of all, we have to establish a fair financial system. So, with this thought, under the leadership of the Zero Waste Advisory Board, we will initiate the necessary initiatives to establish a global zero waste fund to contribute to countries wanting to implement this practice. I hardly believe that our advisory board will understand and carry out important work on waste management during its 3-year term of office. And we will have the we had the first official meeting of the board on the 22nd of July, and tomorrow we're meeting again here in Istanbul. So tomorrow will be the first face-to-face meeting of our advisory board, and it will be held here in Istanbul. And it is another source of pride and happiness for me. As I end my remarks, I would like to say that yesterday we celebrated, the day before yesterday, we celebrated the 100th anniversary of our republic. I gratefully remember all our veterans and martyrs who fought to save our beloved country at the expense of their lives, especially during the Turkish War of Independence. I believe that our republic, which is a great tree with its deep roots, will also be prosperous and successful in the next Turkish century also. I express my gratitude to UN Habitat and its executive director, my beloved friend Maimuna Sherif, for having preferred Turkey and Istanbul for the World Cities Day meeting. I would also want to specifically thank Büşra Kayıkçı, who relaxed our hearts with the pieces she played for us today. I congratulate everyone who have contributed to the organizing of this event, particularly the Ministry of Environment, Urbanization and Climate Change, and the municipality of the district of Uskudar of Istanbul. Take care. Dear First Lady, could we keep you here on the stage for a minute?
Indeed. We will one by one call the stage.
So we'll have 4 family photos before we get into the nitty-gritty of this conference, as they say. I'd like to call to the stage the speakers of this conference, the mayors of Uskudar and Balıkesir, along with our esteemed minister, Mr. Mehmet Özhazeki, and Madam Executive Director, Maymuna Moht Sharif. If we could call you up to the stage. Just not yet, sir. Just in the next round. Just the speakers. Be calling you up. Yes, but
go for it.
Thank you very much. Çok teşekkür ederiz efendim. Sayın Bakanım, siz kalabilirsiniz. Diğer
Minister, you can stay.
Foreign ministers attending this conference, the foreign ministers. Along with the United Nations Road Safety Special Representative. Thank you. There's a protocol, so no idea. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ministers. Sayın Bakanım, çok teşekkür ederim. Sağ olun.
Thank you, Minister.
Of the Zero Waste Advisory Board, please join us up onto the stage. The Zero Waste Advisory Board members. Sayın Bakanım, çok teşekkür ederim. Sağ olun efendim. Size de.
Thank you so much.
For the third family photo, the members of the Zero Waste Advisory Board. Thank you. Sırada. Bundan sonraki. Bunlar First Lady'ler değil. Hayır, en son. En son, evet. Şimdi geliyor. And now you invite the First Ladies.
Tamam.
All right, thank you to the members of the Zero Waste Advisory Board. Thank you very much.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to bring to the stage for our final group photo, the First Ladies of Malaysia, Sierra Leone, Burundi, Gambia, Senegal, Mozambique, Northern Cyprus, and Albania. Please come to the stage for our final group photo of the day.
So I will introduce you. We should have invited the pianist. Çok teşekkürler. Sağ olun efendim. Çok mersi.
Thank you so much.
The end of our opening ceremony for, as we celebrate World Cities Day, I'd like to hand over the floor to a much more qualified person than I am for sure. Allow me to give the floor over to the head of communications for UN Habitat, Ms. Katarina Baznachina. Who'll be
And
telling
our
you.
participants as well, you can move up to the front seats and we can fill out the auditorium. Do feel free to take seats toward the front as our dignitaries leave the room.
Hello, everyone, and as our dignitaries are taking a leave, we kindly request that the guests remain seated, and also we would encourage you to move to the front and take the seats in the front row. We'll take a short intermission to change the stage, but we invite you to take the seats and move to the front. Can people to take their seats in the auditorium. Dear guests, please take your seats, and we are about to start the second part of our program where we have the substantial speakers speaking.